Hey, buddy. How you doing? How you been? Are you excited for me to talk about magic cards? I get the feeling you're not. But hold on. Don't click away. I mean, why? You probably didn't even click on the thumbnail because you said, I don't want to talk about magic cards. That's my big problem with this. I love magic cards. Look, you see these? I got the complete run of Ravnica deck boxes now. I had to order them from Germany. I love magic and nobody wants to talk about it but me. But as I always say, guys, even if you're not into magic, look at my fat ass trying to get that back on the shelf. If you're not into magic, I think this is a good topic. Because we're talking about a company. This is what happens when, instead of focusing on making your company the best it can be and hiring the best possible talent, you end up like Wizards of the Coast, a company based in Seattle, that when you look at the people they hire, it's a bunch of soft-spoken theater kids. The kids who sat alone at the lunch table and said, someday I'm gonna make card games with all my friends of every gender and race under the sun. You don't have a guy in there. You need, if you have a company, you need one guy in there who after work he's chugging beer and going, man, I'm gonna make this game badass. So here's what happens when you just hire your stupid, tender, queer friends. You end up with Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering. Now, it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a fun set. But they're making a lot of obvious mistakes. This could have made so much more money. It's going to make infinite money for them anyway. It's already selling out like crazy. And guys, I am going to have a ton that I'm selling on Whatnot. It's not going to be cheap because it's sold out everywhere. But come by my Whatnot channel. I will have the Final Fantasy Magic cards. So, they've made a number of bizarre problems here. One of which is, well, first of all, let's talk about the good. There is some good. At first, I was worried all the cards were going to be ugly. Some of the cards they were showing off to start off were very ugly. Now the cards they're showing, I go, okay, this looks good. You got actual Amano art on the Kefka. Looks nice. Same for Terra. Amano, of course, being the longtime Final Fantasy character designer for the first 6 games. You got some nice art here from Nomura on Sephiroth. He actually was talking about, you might have noticed Sephiroth looks a little different here. Yeah, I get it. You're spoiling the next game that's coming out. Not that stupid. Then, I guess the big cards that people are going to be trying to collect, or at least the ones that are pre-selling for crazy, are the ones that got the number in the background. I'd actually say this is... Final Fantasy has this problem where sometimes the art is a little too anime, as crazy as that sounds, and I like anime, but I always liked that the Final Fantasy characters looked a little closer towards realistic. If you look at the Final Fantasy VIII remake, they like reskinned the characters and they made them look like anime characters. It kind of actually ruined Final Fantasy VIII for me. I don't like the remake. Cloud looks solid though, and again, the one people want to collect are going to be these ones with the numbers in the background and then the super foil versions. Again, Wizards is a very lazy company. You would think the premium edition would have its own unique artwork. No, it just has a special foil pattern on it, which is not all that exciting. Anyway, there's a bunch of this stuff. A lot of it looks good, but they've made what I would call two huge mistakes. Huge. Now, the first huge mistake they've made, and I want to remind you guys, no, I'll talk about that in a second. The first huge mistake they've made is that one thing that gets people excited for these sets, obviously it's a lot of new cards, but also if you're somebody who's been collecting for a long time, you want new versions of old cards, especially hard to get old cards. There's some Magic cards that go for, over $100, and it's nice when they reprint them in a new treatment. It makes it easier for them to get, and obviously it's cool to have them with new art, especially if it's Final Fantasy art. Now, they do what I think is insane in a number of ways. Some people don't get this at all. So the card is Hero of Light. Obviously, we see the Hero of Light from Final Fantasy. And then below it, it has the words Adeline, Resplendent Cathar. So again, this is not a new card. It's an old card. It's Adeline and Resplendent Cathar, but not really. It's Hero of Light with the same abilities as Adeline, Resplendent Cathar. So basically the idea is if you want to play Adeline in your deck, you can either use the normal Adeline or you can use Hero of Light pretending to be Adeline. It's an interesting solution they've come up with for being able to reprint old cards with new names. Sometimes it's a little clunky. It's a little weird. It doesn't always work. Oh, we're going to look at a couple places where it doesn't work. This card, I'm going to say, looks fine. Fine. Not great. Fine. Now, the big problem with these, as we're going to see, it looks fine, looks fine. Some of these do not look fine. Some of these look absolutely ridiculous. Okay, a good example. Let's find a really good example. There's one that's just, like, terrible. I mean, a lot of these are terrible, but... Okay, well, this is just looks bad. Because... they didn't design any sort of frame for these cards, okay? It's just, you know, normally you would have a text box, like a box the text goes in. You would have, like, a little strip here. If you look at a Magic card, you know, all this stuff is in its own little area. Here, they just threw text on top of it. The second bizarre decision was that not only did they just throw white text with a black stroke on it, which looks terrible. This is amateurish. This is first day Photoshop. For some reason, they decided it has to, even though there is no text box, all the text has to start at this line. So even though you have all this empty space down here where nothing's happening, where any normal graphic designer would go, oh, and just push this down, they've just left it at the midpoint. Which looks, look at this, it's like insane. Look at all this empty dead space where nothing's going on. Just push this down. It would look so much better. So the cards where this effect almost is fine are the cards that are very white and black, because again, everything is being dominated by white and black text. So a card that has a pure black background, okay, it works. Same for these cards at the top. It's a lot of white, so having just white text and nothing else going on doesn't really distract the eye. The problem is when you get into these colored cards, look at this. It just looks like it's plastered on top. It's covering up the horse. The art doesn't even make sense. And again, they said, oh, we went through like 5,000 pieces of artwork and we picked the best ones. Well, you didn't pick ones that make, look, this looks terrible. This is what happens when you don't have a text box. So this doesn't stand out. It's like hard to read. You have white text against this blinding white thing here. It looks absolutely awful. One of the worst ones, and I don't know why this was the first one they showed off, was Yuffie Kusaragi. And you go, okay, well, it's a nice picture of Yuffie, but it's just like a greenish background? What is you couldn't give her a background? And again, just the text, the white text with the black outline just plastered on top. And they're saying, well, these are, you know, it's art from across Final Fantasy. That's actual concept artwork. Okay, but even the Final Fantasy card game knows this looks fucking terrible. So let's take a look. Here's how the Final Fantasy card game handles it. Like, you can say this is busier and has, you know, more garbage on there, but let's be clear. They took Yuffie, they cut her out, gave her a slight drop shadow, which you can see, so she actually stands out against the background. Excuse me, and gave it a background. It's got an actual box for the text, so the text looks all nicely justified. It's not just slapped on top. As everyone's saying, these cards, they look like fan cards. This looks like Daddy's first attempt at Photoshop. And the other thing is, they don't make any sense. Titus Zanarkand Thief is actually Thrasos Triton Hero. Okay, but Thrasios is a merfolk wizard. I know Titus can swim, but he's not a mermaid. That doesn't make any sense. One of the ones I still can't wrap my head around, if I can find it, let me see, is, yeah, Wild Rose Rebellion. Guys, one of the most iconic Final Fantasy Magic cards is Counterspell. Counter a spell. Every time you see Counterspell, it's a wizard going, bah, and knocking somebody else's spell out of the air. This is some dudes with swords. One guy's got a gun in front of a lady. Nothing about this is a counterspell. This art does not fit the card at all. It feels like it was just chosen at random. You could use this art for an effect that says all your creatures get +1/+1, or, you know, do so. This is clearly a card about creatures fighting. It has nothing to do with casting a counterspell. So overall, look, some of these are okay. A lot of them are garbage. My actual plan right now, terrible, looks terrible. My plan right now is actually to get the Japanese cards. Because not only are the Japanese cards cheaper for a reason we'll get into for some reason, but I think they just look better. It might just be my stupid American brain thinking that the Japanese text looks cooler. I'm trying to find an example of the Japanese ones. For some reason, they're hiding them. I don't think they want you to know about the Japanese ones. Aw, man, I definitely had one before. Here, okay. I mean, this is not a great example, but at the very least, Again, it has the same problem of why are you covering the guy up with the text? But the text is much tighter. It fits into a much nicer shape, unlike the English text. It almost like, even though it doesn't have a text box, it fits into this nice boxed shape because of the way the Japanese language works. This just looks a lot cleaner to me. Maybe that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. Again, I look at this. It's a mess. It's a mess. And look at all the like dead space in between the outlined letters. I hate seeing negative space between letters, and it makes all these weird shapes. I think it looks terrible. Here's the other thing I wanted to say, and I think is a mistake. Now, some people will disagree with this. Some people don't like this, but Lord of the Rings, Wizards put it out, and what was cool was, well, I guess what's driving me nuts is it feels like Wizards either A, loves the Lord of the Rings more, or B, they're putting these things on such an accelerated production schedule. They're doing a Spider-Man set. They're doing an Avatar set. I don't think they have time to put care into this shit. I think they literally just slapped it together and they're like, fuck it, get it out the door. We don't have time to waste on getting good design. The Lord of the Rings set, which they had time to design, first of all, look at this. Every card, these were their bonus sheet cards for those, which look nice because they just, wait, you already did it. Look. There's the name of the card originally. There's the bonus card name. And there, just why did you get rid of the frame? The frame is nice. It drives me nuts. This was the better way to handle it instead of these terrible, oh, it's full art. Yeah, but it looks like shit and the kid's covered up by text. Doesn't make any sense. But here's the other thing they did is that they made these X out of 100 serialized cards. So it made the boxes go up in price a lot because people were chasing after these. It made them collectibles. I'm a guy, I like collectibles. I have a couple serialized cards. They're very hard to get. I don't have any from the Lord of the Rings set because these are now insane amounts. As you can see, people are paying $1,500 for a serialized Dal Amroth or whatever out of 100. But you said, okay, well, look, not everybody loves them, but you don't have to chase them. They obviously add a lot of value to the set. They make when I buy a product, I want it to hold value. Some people, they want all the Magic cards to be free and they want proxies. I would like when I buy a box of Magic cards, 10 years from now, I can go, hey, those Magic cards are still worth something. They're not all trash. Okay? And we said, okay, well, obviously, these were a big thing that people were chasing after, all these serialized cards. You heard about Post Malone paying $1 million for the one-of-one ring. Surely Magic is going to do the same. And they said, yeah, there will be serialized cards in Final Fantasy. I said, oh, good. Well, maybe I'll get one. Yeah, well, that'd be fun. Wouldn't it be cool if I open a box, I got a serialized card? Well, I'm not going to get one. And no one's going to get one. No one's going to get one. Why? Because there's 77 of them. That's it. There's one card that's serialized. It is a XX out of 77. Not even 777. Now that I would have said, well, at least there's 700 of them out there for people to chase. There's 77 of this stupid golden chocobo. First of all, I think the art is goofy and stupid. I don't even like it. Second of all, there's only 77, so there's no point. You're not going to get one. At this point, it's like, just go buy a Powerball ticket at that point. The odds of getting one is zero. You're never going to get a serialized Final Fantasy card. And if you open one, let's be clear, it's not even something where, if I opened a serialized Lord of the Rings card, I might keep it. You know why? Because at the end of the day, yeah, getting $1,000 for a Magic card is cool, but do I need $1,000 today? Not exactly. So I could hold on to it. I could think about it. Maybe down the road I'd sell it or whatever. But if you open one of the 77 traveling chocobos, let's be clear, people are going to be paying $5,000 for this, $6,000 for this. You're basically just ensuring that the only people who have these are rich people, because no poor person's going to hold on to it. Any person of normal means who opens a traveling chocobo and somebody online says, I'll give you $10,000 for the one of 77 traveling chocobo, great. It's a toy for rich kids. That's why you spread it out. You make it so something normal. You put out hundreds of these so normal people can hopefully get them. You don't put out 77 of them. I don't understand this at all. There were so many. And again, look at all the cards that they could have done serialized versions of. You could have had a serialized Cloud, would have been much cooler. Serialized Tifa would have added a little bit of excitement to the packs. Now I go, oh, I'm definitely not getting a serialized, so why do I care? I will say this. They didn't make anybody black, is the one interesting thing. As we saw with the Lord of the Rings set, for some reason, Magic decided Aragorn is black. It's actually funny. I had the distinct experience of looking at a card. I think it was this card. I looked at this card and I said, oh, this is a cool sword. Who's that guy? And then it took me a second. I said, oh, yeah, Aragorn's black now. Because, again, Wizards is run by weirdos and freaks and whatever. I probably shouldn't say that. I should say nice things about Wizards so they give me free product. Anyway, guys, Magic the Gathering, Legends come to life. Look, set's going to be good. There's a lot to like, but there's a lot of weird mistakes. They're leaving money on the table. Some of the art is just terrible. But overall, you know, it's such a mixed bag. Like, it's weird. I was sure I was going to be so excited for this. This was going to be my Lord of the Rings set. I remember how excited people were for Lord of the Rings. I'm not a Lord of the Rings guy. I barely got any. And I said, well, this is going to be my Lord of the Rings. And I love these treatments. I was like, oh, it's going to be so cool to have my favorite old cards reimagined as Final Fantasy cards in the same way to Lord of the Rings. And then I look at these bonus sheet cards and I'm like, ugh, yuck. I don't even know if I want any of these. They look so lazy. It's definitely sucked a lot of my enthusiasm out of the set. I'm hoping that the Japanese ones look better, because these just look like cheap proxies. They look so bad, dude. Again, I love Cloud. Cloud's one of my I love this character. I have Cloud action figures and whatever else, but I look at this and I'm like, oh, if I could design a better card than what you're selling me, I could go into Photoshop right now and I could make a Cloud Strife card I would think looks better than this. And that's my disappointment. Anyway, guys, don't forget, if you want to buy Final Fantasy Magic cards, I'm going to be on Whatnot. They're coming out next month. I will be selling them. We're going to have a lot of fun. Come on by. It looks so bad, dude. It looks so bad. I could have done a better job. Honestly, in 10 minutes, I could do a better job than this. Drives me nuts.